guys? Alright, well, as you can see, Miss Ellie is here. She was born on Friday at 7:48 a.m. She weighed 7 pounds 11 ounces and was 19.5 inches long. So we are so excited that she's here, and she's just such a sweet baby. I will show you her better at the end of the video, but she's kind of snoozing right now, so. Okay, so this is just going to be like a 1 week postpartum and Ellie update of just a bunch of like general things that went on in the past week, including the C-section and the hospital stay, and then just the past couple days being at home. Okay, so the C-section itself went really well. She held out to her C-section date. I did not go into labor or anything like that. We got to the hospital early in the morning. Everything went well. They had a hard time getting the IV in, but that's just because I was dehydrated. And so once that was all in and good, then we went to the OR, and they got her out really fast for the most part. She was a little bit stuck, so they had to push down really, really hard on my ribs to get her down. And they kept asking if I was okay, and at first I was like, yeah, and then with the next couple pushes I was like, no, that really hurts. And I mean, there was just so much pressure, it kind of felt like they were going to crack my ribs, but turns out they didn't. It was fine. The other weird thing about the C-section was that there was one spot that wasn't numb, and luckily it was a spot that they didn't, you know, like cut open, but still it was an area that was still being messed with, and I could feel it, and it hurt. It wasn't so much pain that I was in agony or anything, it was just more very uncomfortable. But it was fine. It didn't last long, and the whole thing was over before I even knew it, pretty much. And my doctor also removed my old scar because I had really bad keloid scarring from Jonathan, and so he wanted to try to at least remove the scar tissue and make it look a little better. So hopefully it will heal a little nicer than what his incision did. But yeah, so everything went really well with the C-section itself. And it was nice too because at every C-section, or maybe it's every delivery, I don't know, they have somebody from the NICU there on hand. And so, you know, the doctor was there to check her out immediately to make sure that she was fine. And it was so nice hearing that everything was good and she looked great. And her APGAR score was 9.9, so... But it was funny because when I heard 9.9, I thought they were talking about her weight, and I'm like, how did a 9.9 pound baby fit in my belly? And they just started laughing, and they're like, no, 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 no. 9.9 is the APGAR score. She's 7 pounds 11 ounces. I was like, okay, that sounds more reasonable. So yes, after that, they did skin to skin right away while I was still being stitched up, and that was really nice. And then we went to the recovery room where we latched her on right away to breastfeed, and she was a champ. She latched on immediately and nursed for 50 minutes. It was awesome. So I was just so glad that she just took right to it. So then for the hospital stay, everything went pretty well. There was a couple little hiccups, like there was a miscommunication about my pain medicine because I'm allergic to Percocet, and that's typically what they prescribe for pain afterwards. And I don't even know what all happened, but basically I wasn't given anything except for ibuprofen. That was my only pain medicine, and I hurt. That didn't cut it. So that was a little rough, but Sunday morning when my doctor came in, he was like, okay, well, you can go today. We'll send you home with Percocet and ibuprofen and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I'm allergic to Percocet, so I can't do that. And he goes, so what have you been taking for pain? And I said ibuprofen, and he goes, I'm so sorry. So then he prescribed Vicodin immediately so that I could have one before I left, and then some to take home for pain as well. But so that was nice that I eventually got a little bit more pain management. The other little hiccup that we ran into, nothing with Ellie. She was totally the whole time we were in the hospital. It was actually with me. When you have a C-section, they put a catheter in because they give you a spinal block. And once the spinal block wears out, they can take the catheter out. Well, you know, they want you to pee within a certain amount of time after that, and I could feel my bladder, I could feel that it was full, but I just could not pee. I couldn't do it. And I mean, at this point I'm in agony because I feel like my bladder is going to burst and I just can't, I just can't pee. So they did a temporary catheter just to like drain everything out. And then the nurse said that if I couldn't go again within 6 hours, that they were going to have to put one in for probably another 24 hours. And I was trying so hard to avoid it because having a catheter in is just, I mean, it just sucks. And getting cathetered, I don't know, is uncomfortable. So I tried and tried and tried. And this is the first night there, so she was cluster feeding all night. She fed about every 30 to 45 minutes trying to get my milk to come in. And between her feedings, I was trying to pee. So I did not sleep the whole first night and I was miserable the next day. But it turns out my bladder was frozen up and they had to put another catheter in. And so the whole next day I was kind of stuck with the catheter and it was, and then I was really tired, obviously, and exhausted from being up all night. So Saturday wasn't the best day, but my milk ended up coming in Saturday night, or starting to come in Saturday night, and so she slept great Saturday night. I was waking her up every 3 hours to feed her, because she was getting a full belly. And then the next morning is when the doctor came in and said that we could go home that day as long as I could pee by myself. And I was determined to get home. So I Googled a bunch of stuff on how to make yourself pee after having a C-section, and somebody, sounds so stupid guys, but somebody suggested getting a cup with like a lid and a straw and blowing bubbles in it while you're sitting there. I kid you not, instant. Like, it was amazing. So then we got to come home and that was great. So since we've been home, everything has been going really well. She's like one of the best babies ever. I didn't know that babies could be this, I don't want to say easy, but just kind of. I mean, knock on wood. But just with everything that Jonathan went through and all the medical stuff, everything was a challenge with him, and it wasn't his fault. It was just, eating was a challenge, and then sleeping was a challenge, and everything was just a very big challenge. And it's just been so normal this time around, and it's been wonderful. I mean, I just can't believe this is what it's like to have a baby, like a baby without any kind of health issues or anything like that. It's incredible. So we're just so thankful that she's okay and all that stuff. We did take her to her pediatrician on Tuesday, and she was almost back to her birth weight. She was only 2 ounces shy, so she was 7 pounds 9 ounces, and but she was jaundiced. And she was kind of on the verge of maybe needing some light therapy with a billy blanket. So we had to come back in the next day to see if her levels were rising or going down, and luckily they were going down. So she's still a little jaundiced, but it's getting better, especially the more she eats and poops and pees and all that stuff. And she's been sitting in front of the window with us. I've been nursing her in front of the window and hanging out in front of the window to try to help with her little jaundice too. But yeah, I mean, she's doing great. She's such a sweet, sweet baby. You're just so sweet. And now I can't even imagine life without her, and it's only been a week. I mean, it's crazy. And Jonathan is doing so well with her. He's so gentle, which I wasn't worried about him not being gentle necessarily, but I thought he might be very jealous and act out a lot. And he has been more whiny and clingy, which is totally normal, but he's so sweet. He loves his little sister. He comes up and he pets her head he'll hold her hand and he'll try to share his cars, but very nicely. It's just like the sweetest thing I've ever seen in my life, and my heart bursts when I see him interact with her. And you know, just this is everything I could have dreamed of and more. And I don't know, I'm just so thankful that we have these two miracles here, because this is all I could ever want. And so we're just so happy that she's here and she's safe and everybody's good. And yeah. Oh, and then I guess for me, I went to the doctor on Thursday, and they had put this kind of like silicone bandage over my incision, which was nice because I didn't have to mess with it for a whole week, and it protected it from water or clothes rubbing on it or anything like that. So he took it off yesterday, which that hurt, but he took it off and everything looks really good. My incision looks good, so hopefully it stays keloid free. We'll see. And now I just have to wash it with soap and water and keep it dry and clean, and that's about it. Otherwise, I feel pretty good. I'm getting around pretty well, and I don't think I've taken any kind of ibuprofen or anything like that today at all, so pain is getting better and I'm able to do more things. But it is frustrating being home and not being able to do what I normally do, and not being able to pick up Jonathan and stuff like that. That's a little hard, but luckily I have my mom here and James here, so it's been good. It's been okay. We're gonna make it. But yeah, guys, that is it for our 1 week postpartum and 1 week of life update. I will go ahead and show you Ellie, and then I'll go and show you my 1 week postpartum mom belly. And yes, I am in my pajamas with giant mesh underwear on, and I just don't even care. Alright guys, here's little Ellie girl. There's little Ellie girl. Sorry, big boob shot, but there she is. She's so sweet. Alright, now I'll show you my belly. The Ellie belly. Alright guys, that is it for our 1 week update. I hope you guys are doing great. I'm thinking about you, I'm praying for you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.